Hey everyone, this is Tinga welcoming you to yet another Marvel Strike Force War Wednesday. Today's War Wednesday is against Excalibur. So let's launch right into this. The very first battle I end up taking on is a 1 million TCP Asgardians team. And this is the OG Asgardians, not the hero Asgardians. So first off, I'm going to pick Black Order and try and punch up substantially and see if we can't get a win. Now the reason I didn't take my symbiotes is because this Thor is so large that when his charged mechanic passive goes off, there's a very good chance that he could knock out at least one, if not two, of my symbiotes. And then he would be able to come around with his ultimate, which would either stun or kill the rest of them. So I was trying to avoid that happening, and that's why I picked Black Order. Now you'll see me here going ahead and trying to save my Thanos special, which is the gigantic flip, until somebody, mainly Loki, goes into stealth. And the reason for that is if I can wait for him to go into stealth and then flip the stealth, then that will bring him back active. He will likely still be less than 50% health, which means I should be able to clean up Loki, and then I don't have to worry about stealth for the rest of this attack. Unfortunately, this punch-up was just too great for Black Order. Now to be fair, this used to work. This really did used to work, but before the hero Asgardians of Valkyrie and Jane Thor were added to the game. It doesn't work anymore simply because the Asgardians were buffed, and even with the OG configuration, Thor, Sif, and Heimdall do a significant amount of damage still. And now they do more than they used to, even. So those three really do punch quite a bit, and in this case my Black Order just couldn't crack it. So now I leave it as a loss, having cleared out one toon, and I decide let's take a crack at symbiotes now. We're one toon down, so I'm that much closer. That toon is a gigantic Loki. He's gone, so I don't have to worry about stealth anymore. So now I'm going to try and take control, and I figure symbiotes. So unfortunately, what ends up happening pretty quickly is exactly what I was afraid of in my first attack, which is just Megatron Thor here just goes after them and cleans them out. And symbiotes, they are a good team, and they used to be a great team against Asgardians. They can still punch up about 5%, but apparently, even with one of them missing, the old ways of doing this just don't work, especially since Sif gets a taunt, and that just throws off every possibility here with my second attack of taking complete charge of this match and doing a good cleanup. So I actually end up canceling out of this. So that's loss number 2. Already a really bad start to my war. Alright, we're on to attack number 3. Now I am reeling. I'm really in trouble. I've already spent 2 war energy, now it's going to be 3 on this battle. And Asgardians, which used to be a piece of cake, has become a serious issue. So as you can see, I take my own sweet time trying to figure out what team I'm ultimately going to take into this battle, and I ended up settling on a mishmash team that has come about since Captain Marvel went to A-Force. So I kind of put together this Misfits team of Cloak and Dagger, Ultimus, Ultron, and Minerva for a while, and I really do like this team. This has a lot of decent role players. Ultimus can still tank kill. Ultron still has that longevity and, the punch. He's still a Dark Dimension boss, so he's got some of that going for him. Minerva still is the best healer in the game. There's no getting around that. And Cloak and Dagger, especially at ridiculously high gear tiers, just do tons of debuffs and damage. And they play off each other very well. So in the first 40 seconds of the battle, you can see just how sideways this can go. Ultimus dies. I've lost Ultron already, and his revive mechanic has kicked in, so we're down to that. Cloak and Dagger are both on the precipice of being completely gone, and I'm in trouble. But what I didn't do is panic, so I ended up using Minerva's ultimate first. I didn't bring Ultimus back. I brought all of the healing into the game so that I could get Ultron back up, Cloak and Dagger back up, and even Minerva, who was into the red, back up. And then it was time to summon bots with Ultron, which of course adds longevity, speed, and offense up to Ultron, and that was really great. That allowed me to focus on Thor, and then Minerva's special came around, brought Ultimus back, and I was able to be back at a full squad with some extra Ultron bots standing by my side, and then I ended up taking out Thor. Now, once Thor was gone, this fell apart. Thor is the punch in the Asgardians' defense. In the hero Asgardians' defense, Thor and Mighty Thor are the punch, and Valkyrie is really annoying. But in the OG Asgardians now, it's really Thor that you gotta worry about. If you can get rid of him, you can take the match, and that's what I did here. Alright, so it took me 3 attacks to take out Asgardians on something that I used to be able to handle pretty easily, so kind of shaking here, and that teaches me what I need to know for the rest of this war, which is, it doesn't matter what you're facing, use the correct counters, and don't be afraid to way overkill. So, million TCP Black Order, the correct counter is Infinity Watch, and that's auditable. Infinity Watch is just that good. They are built as the Black Order counter, and they are built to punch up roughly 40 to 50%. So in this case, it's 1 million TCP Black Order versus roughly a 700k Infinity Watch. I could have just put this on auto. The focus here is get rid of Cull Obsidian and try to land either a stun or ability block on Thanos. If you can ability block Thanos and stun Ebony Maw before both of them get their ultimates, it's game over. Alright, now we're back on track here. We've got the Infinity Watch win against Black Order. All is right with the world. So next up is going to be Doc Ock Sinister 6. And in keeping with the last battle, I'm going with the definitive correct counter, which is Axemen. Put it on auto. Focus on Doc Ock. Walk away. Come back and claim your rewards. Okay, so next up we've got a 612k OG as Guardians. Now this one, my symbiotes should be able to take just fine. The reworks didn't make as Guardians that bulletproof against symbiotes, so it's been a while since we've done a review, but basically here's how you do this. You want to target Greg. You want to target Greg until you can get all the way around to Scream's ultimate. The question then becomes, what do you do with the Disrupted that Scream puts out there? What I usually try to do is target Hela. Try to get the Disrupted on Hela and then make sure to just target her until she is gone. Now, you can put the Disrupted on Hela, you can put the Disrupted on Loki, and then focus kill Loki, or you can disrupt Sif, and then just take your chances with everybody else. Really, the best targets are either Hela or Loki, and whomever you get the Disrupted on is who you're going to target until they are gone. Now, if you happen to have an arrangement defensively, where Hela and Loki or Hela and Sif or Loki and Sif are next to each other, then you're going to want to use that to your advantage and try and get Sif disrupted as well and make sure that she can't taunt so you can clear out whichever the other tune is. And if the trifecta is next to each other, even better, target the middle tune and land that disrupt. At that point, it's just a matter of killing off Hela. Hela's got to go or Loki's got to go. It's a 1-2 combination there. After that, it's game over. Alright, here we are, and we're looking at now a Fantastic Four She-Hulk defense, but instead of Stretch, they have a very large Silver Surfer. Now, one thing I've noticed is if you come across a She-Hulk Fantastic Four, the best definitive counter is Ravagers. A full Ravager team can make the She-Hulk Fantastic Four team just completely fall apart. Even if you end up getting somebody one-shotted by Human Torch. As long as the one-shot isn't Yondu, you're going to win. So what you're going to want to do is focus down She-Hulk first. You're going to want to use your turn meter rewinds from the Ravager boomers to keep Invisible Woman away from using her abilities. And in this case, it's going to be a little bit tricky with Silver Surfer. You might want to leave him to last, even though that can sound daunting and scary, but since he heals on every turn, it's best to just kind of overwhelm him with attack after attack after attack after attack, and the best way to do that is save him till the end. So we've got here a large Ravagers versus a decent-sized She-Hulk Fantastic Four with Surfer, and again, She-Hulk first, Invisible Woman second, and make sure to use your health steals and your speed bar steals to your advantage. Keep them off the turns. Yondu on my team is huge, and so his ultimate really does a lot of damage. I have his abilities maxed out, which is really nice because that means his summons come in with their abilities maxed out, so they do the maximum amount of damage. And those summons really can take over. Yondu is for the Ravagers what Ultron is for whatever team he's on. When the summoning gets going, Yondu can pretty much take over a match, kind of like Ultron can. So keep that in mind, and if you come across any large Fantastic Four She-Hulks on defense, get your Ravagers out and use them. I suspect with the new Gamma team that She-Hulk is going to be moving off of War defense for War offense, so you probably won't see him very often, so now's the time to use it. Next up, Heroes for Hire meet Weapon X. So we've seen this battle many times if you've watched my channel. You know by now that I'm going to target Shang-Chi with Omega's special and get him below 50% as quickly as I possibly can and let those charges just slide away. While that's going on, at some point Luke Cage will taunt, and you'll be able to use Omega's ultimate to get that Traumed ability block. I'm sorry, the Traumed heal block on everyone. And the point at that point is to get as many tunes, if not all of the tunes, under 50% health bar, so that the charges just melt away. Then you're going to want to get rid of Shang-Chi as fast as you possibly can, because he is the biggest damage on this team. And having him stay around so that he can get multiple ultimates off is really a bad move. But one thing I will say is, now that I'm comfortable with this strategy, my Weapon X can punch up 100, 200k pretty straight often, and it makes it so simple. So once you get the Traumed ability block on Shang-Chi and you get him where you want him health-wise, you can auto this to finish out. Alright, next up is a very large Emma Doom Marauders on defense, and I am seeing this pretty commonly right now in the wars that we're going through. I think I've seen this at least once in 2 of 3 wars a week for the last 3 months, and my answer is always the same. Kestrel's Secret Avenger's Shield. The strategy is pretty simple. Kestrel has the charged mechanic, and what you'll use that for is to not only keep Sinister's clone at bay, but also Doom's Doombots at bay. What you really want to do, actually, especially on a very, very, very large punch-up, is use Captain Sam's special first. If you use his ultimate first, you can give that speed bar to Kestrel and get her second turnaround so the charge goes away before Doom ults. If you do that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But you really should try and keep Kestrel as slow as possible and try to knock out Sinister and Doom. Those are the first 2 priorities. And actually, the highest priority is Doom. Once that happens, if you're down to just Marauders left, Doom's gone, focus on Sinister because he's the healer, or Strife because he's the tank. If Strife isn't gone already, he's a pretty quick out, usually, depending on his size. But you're going to want to save Emma to last, more than likely, or Mystique. Mystique tends to end up last a lot nowadays, I've noticed, because she stays in stealth so long. But that's fine. If it's down to Emma and Mystique, feel free to take out Emma quickly. Or slowly, just as long as you take her out. Next up is one of my worst nightmare defenses right now. Well, it was. It's not so much after having seen how this battle goes. But we've got a New Warriors and Eternals of over 1 million TCP. Crazy, crazy huge. So what I decide to do, of course, the best counter for Eternals is Eternals. And the best counter for New Warriors is not letting them take a turn, which just seems painfully obvious for any team, and also kind of tongue-in-cheek sarcastic. So obvious thing number 1 is you want to get your Eternals out front, so my first character of choice is Loki. And then, this is before I had Darkhold build up, so Morgan Le Fay is a really good choice to fill in here. I also don't have my Unlimited X-Men built up, but I do have Rogue to gear tier 16 already, so throw another Horseman in there, and then it's Eternals to round it out. Now, this is a 400k punch-up. So here we go, this is crazy. Loki's here to speed up Circe, so that I can get the first turn. Circe's ultimate will rewind turn meter for everyone, so that I can get the next turn with Icarus, whose ultimate is to rewind turn meter and hopefully kill at least one toon. Oh, and did I mention that Loki speeds up Morgan Le Fay? So her turn can get a good slow on Icarus. And Rogue Special, which is available right away, can land a traumatized ability block, if possible. So Icarus doesn't actually get a kill with his AoE attack, but then Rogue comes around with her ultimate, which is a stun, so I can stun their Icarus. Then my Circe special is available, so I can stun their Circe. Now, I've got tons of debuffs, I'm in the driver's seat, and somehow they really haven't taken a turn yet. I've got a chance to win this thing. And to do that, the biggest key is to get rid of both Dagger and one of the Eternals. If I can do that, and have my team, both of my Eternals still standing, it's over on auto. And I managed to get rid of Dagger as well as Deathpool pretty quickly, and then Icarus before he managed to make a mess of my team. And then it was easy cleanup. Okay, so now we're on to another Doc Ock Sinister 6, and I gotta point out something that I've figured out too. Not only is Axemen fantastic and the correct counter for Doc Ock Sinister 6, but Web Warriors is fantastic and the correct counter for Doc Ock Sinister 6. So what we now know, at least based off of my experience, is there are two perfectly viable punch-up or punch-across teams for Doc Ock Sinister 6, and this one is Web Warriors. Very similar concept to Axemen. You want to focus on Doc Ock first. Web Warriors does things a little bit differently. Spider-Gwen does a lot of the damage. You're going to want to power up the team here and make sure that you've got your Raider on everybody but Miles Morales, and for Miles you're going to want Striker. So if you can get Miles upgraded big so that his Striker punches are pretty good damage, this is going to be a breeze. It is essentially automable. Do be careful, but feel free to put it on full auto, not basic. Cannot be basic. Gotta put it on full auto. But once Doc Ock is gone, it's game over. Next up is a 760k Skilletary team on defense. Skilletary is not a defense team, they're an offense team. So that's problem number one with this. Problem number two, which isn't a problem for me, but a problem for them, is that Skilletary is pretty weak. They're not a great team, even with Black Widow, although Black Widow did make them a lot more viable. So what makes Skilletary so good on offense is its Achilles heel on defense, which is Red Guardian. On offense, he puts up a never-ending taunt, and he's a huge tank, if upgraded, so he's incredibly annoying. On defense, you are Zemo away from having complete access to the rest of the team. So, I use Zemo Factor, and Zemo does what Zemo does. He clears the auto taunt and opens up the rest of the team to damage. Punisher is kind of weak offensively, so don't worry about him. You really want to get rid of Black Widow first. And just focus down on the whole team with damage. Thing about X Factor is they're a lot of AoE, and even after losing Zemo right out of the gate, it's no big deal. He did the job he was supposed to do. I can get up a Disrupted with Polaris on Red Guardian to make sure he doesn't taunt again, and just clean it up from there. Alright, we're to the penultimate match here, and I'm facing up about a 520k Secret Avengers Fury Coulson. So, the most powerful configuration here is not Coulson, but Kestrel. Kestrel's missing, so I do have that going for me. But Secret Avengers are no slouch, and Fury Coulson is really a great set of two here for defense. They're not that powerful, though. The problem I'm facing is I have gone through a lot of my really good offense, and I don't know what to use. Fortunately, while I had very little experience with the team, I still had A-Force back, and I ran Black Bolt as a 5th for his extra damage, because that passive, whenever you drop somebody into the red, really, really good. So, you'll see me stop and read the kits. I'm not familiar with the Jessica Jones rework like I should be, and I really don't know Nico or Spider-Woman that well. But one of the things that you'll see me do is Nico's ultimate, right in the beginning, will apply a trauma and a disrupt, and I go after Captain Sam with that. And both of those land, which is great. Now I don't have to worry about his taunt. From there, Spider-Woman ability blocks and heal blocks Fury, and then I focus down on Captain Sam until he's gone. Then it's just kind of a war of attrition here. I will focus on Maria Hill after Sharon is taken out, and Maria Hill being the last of the Secret Avengers. Then it's just Fury and Coulson, and Fury summons and healings and buff spreading just does not match Maria's ability to do all of that. So I had very little to worry about once I was down to Fury and Coulson. Alright, we're into the last match, and this one is going to be yet another Asgardian. And I decided to get a little cute here. I took my Uncanny X-Men, pulled out Cyclops, and put in Gambit. In hindsight, I really don't know what I was thinking, other than I knew Gambit would be retaliatory striking anybody who hit on my team. So I was hoping that extra damage constantly would make up for how super slow Cyclops was, and possibly take out an Asgardian or two that did most of the damage, while simultaneously giving my Phoenix and Storm a chance to get around. And it sort of worked, and it sort of didn't. Unfortunately, I ended this war as I began, losing to an Asgardian team. Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, have a great day.